Dear Venerable brothers and sisters, Dhamma friends, today is the third day in our retreat. We are going to start another session of question and answers. And we'll start with the written questions and see the possibilities for others to raise questions to the audience.
Thank you, Venerable Sir. First of all, this is not a question, right? This is a message from every person here collectively.
Okay.
Most Venerable Bhante, we would like to thank you for your kind gesture of sending a tray full of nutritious, fresh
But I heard you all are not eating. You all are not eating.
We ate medicinal leaves for our dana yesterday. We appreciate very much your thoughtfulness. We ate a lot, Bhante.
No, I got the tip telling that you all have not eaten, and tomorrow also I am going to send it. If I am not going to eat it, I will come and push.
Okay, Venerable Sir. Much merit to you, Bhante, from all the retreants.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Then, Venerable Sir, I would also like to thank everyone who gave their questions early or on time.
Yeah.
It really takes the pressure off me, if I at least have the time, both the pressure of Devika and me.
No, don't. It won't make a pressure. So whatever the questions come 30 minutes before, you take it. Others you can put it the next day.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a
Alright.
running thing.
Much merit to you for that. Then, Bhante, we have 7 people who have asked questions that we are presenting to you today. And those 7 questioners have either 12 questions including the parts. Okay?
Yeah.
Most respected Swamin Vahansa, when I begin to meditate, I sit down and observe, here now I am. After a short while, I begin to observe my primary object, the in and out breath. I note that the out breath is longer than the in breath. I observe that the in breath is cool and the out breath is warm. I observed like this for 20 to 30 minutes. During this time, I could hear sounds and have thoughts, but my mindfulness stayed with my breath. Gradually, the in and out breaths became shorter and more subtle. Towards the end, I saw waves like ripples emanating from the middle of a pond when a stone is thrown in, like a tarangamalawak. Please advise me on how to progress in my meditation. May you have the blessings of the Triple Gem.
So if that particular person is ready to answer cross question, it will be quite a revealing thing. So first of all, I will ask whether that particular person is ready to raise the hand.
Venerable Sir, if the person is permitted to ask in Sinhala, we will translate the question.
Yeah, you can
answers.
translate.
Okay.
Before, without any remark, Sinhalese question is coming and you are ready to answer it, translate it to English.
Yes.
So I will handle in English medium.
Yes,
No
that's
problem.
fine. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
That particular question that we are dealing with have 3 states. One thing is mindful on the in-breath and out-breath, cooler and warmer. Second thing is mindful when the sounds are there. Third thing is mindful when the breath is subtle. I would like to know, but how do your mind, how do you gauge them? Which one is better, good, which one is better, which one is the best? Out of these 3 mindfulness, when you are solely mindful on the breath, or you are mindful with the breath as well as the sounds, and you are mindful on the very subtle breath, which one is more efficient? Which mindfulness? Understand the question?
Can you translate? You have the mic? She says that she felt she was Most successful when the breath was shorter and more refined.
I also will agree. So make facilities or facilitate more and more the breath becomes subtle, mindfulness becomes more and more sharp, more and more efficient, more and more face to face. So you must understand mindfulness is refining. At the beginning you are mindful with the breath, and that is the starting point. And then you become mindful with the breath as well as you can hear sounds, little bit efficient. And then ultimately you see the very subtle breath, and mindfulness never lost. And you agree, mindfulness at the breath very subtly is the most refined. So you must facilitate to go further into the subtlety of the subtlety of the breath. And then when the breath becomes subtle, mindfulness becomes more efficient. Mindfulness becomes very skillful. And Buddha gave 2 criterion to measure. More and more the breath becomes subtle, you are progressing according to the Patipada or our meditation progress. Second thing is less and less defilements. The breath becomes subtle, less defilement. So you are monitoring, you are gearing, you are facilitating to go deeper, subtle layers of the breath. That means parallelly, when the breath becomes subtle, mindfulness becomes very efficient. So just facilitating. That is the advice, or that is the refinement you have to do. So make sure you can go still, subtle layers or subtle breaths. When and where you trace back to the subtlety of the breath, your mindfulness becomes very sharp. Mindfulness becomes very efficient.
The second one has 3 questions in it. Most Venerable Swamin Wahanse, I observe the posture first. The breath becomes prominent. Thereafter, it fades. I experience a void situation from which I emerge at times with a jolt, and at times very gradually. With awareness increasing gradually, from which I emerge at times with a jolt, and at times very gradually, with awareness increasing gradually, with something outside sounds, etc. Hence, up to now, I have not been able to predict the occurrence before it happens. I still know of it only after emerging. It still feels as if I've been only for a second or 2. The question is, should I carry on letting it happen this way? Is it not developing further because my practice is not regular enough? The second question, I have also noted that this occurrence of this void situation is more regular when I am in a relaxed posture rather than the lotus position. In the lotus position, it takes a long while to happen. So should I stick to an easier seat, although lotus position is not difficult for me? Another thing that I have noted is that there has been a wee bit of inner chatter just before getting into this void. This is noted in the slow emerging type of experience. The third question, is the inner chatter happening because I am not mindful enough? But if I focus too much on an object, I have noted that the void experience doesn't happen. The jolt experience, I find, comes with a visual frame or something like a last thought. These visuals and thoughts are usually not related to me. May you have long life and perfect health always. Theruvan Saranai.
The presentation problems are there. I hope I gather the question. And I would like to leave aside this lotus posture and the sitting posture. Don't complicate situation with that. Sit in a relaxed way. Whatever may be facilitating your meditation. Don't try to crucify yourself. Don't try to torture yourself. Make the body more comfortable. So that's gone. And the other one is when and where there's situation where unperceivable, unperceptible situation happens, usually this unknown part happens when the known part become prominent. Whenever you become aware, whenever you are to see the beginning, the middle and the end of the known part, then as a result, unknown going to happen. So basic thing must be to welcome it, go prepared, the unknown. The unknown has the beginning, the middle and the end. So this whole essay is the end of the unknown part. So with the jolt you come to the normal senses and you know it is happening gradually. It is happening with little bit of inner chatter, thinking. This is, please consider as the end of the unknown. End of the unknown is the beginning of the known. Now make that situation more familiar. Try to go prepared for that. If you are efficient in the end of the unknown, one day you will understand what is the beginning of the unknown. Beginning of the unknown is the disappearance of the breath. So whenever you are monitoring the disappearing part of the breath, that's the starting of the unknown. So you have to go prepared for that. When and where you go prepared with the beginning of the unknown, one day you will make sure end and the beginning of the unknown is fairly now happening in the daylight or happening in the understanding. And then you have to imagine, it is little irrational appear like, you become awakening into the middle of the unknown. That's almost like Nibbana. That is the enlightenment. You become awakened to the unknown. That is, in the simple English, it is called, you are awakening into a dream. You are awakening into the sleep. In the Western language, it's called, you are exploring into the subconscious. You are making a tunnel from the conscious to subconscious. Then, one day you will understand, in our whole samsara, we have never hoped, never planned, never anticipated the subconscious as a subject matter, as an object to be observed. So that is the way the Buddha is leading. First he makes sure we are aware, thorough and discriminately understand about the known. When that is completing, unknown going to happen. Then you have to go prepared for the unknown that is utterly spiritual. It is utterly religious. So therefore mindfulness must be intact. Your precepts must be intact. Your faith must be intact. It is not the normal faith. It's a superior class of faith. And the precepts also must be up to your confidence. And the mindfulness must be very versatile. Must be very, very diversified. And then one day, this particular person start the big end of the unknown and familiarize it. And be prepared the beginning of the unknown. Beginning of the unknown is the last question. How the breath becomes subtle. Mindfulness becomes very sharp. And you have to understand this is the start. Whenever you master the beginning and the end, the final game is to be aware the unknown, or not the aware, to awaken into unknown. The beauty of unknown is, as far as the unknown is concerned, we all are the same. It's a universal unconscious. In the known only we have the male, female, tall, short, white, black, beautiful, unbeautiful, all the kind of thing. The moment you go to the unknown, Buddha is there. That is the Buddha nature. That's the thing the Buddha wanted us to share with him. So as far as you are in the known, you are not up to the Montessori level. After finishing unknown, it's happening in each sitting. It's happening in each and every successful sitting. So whenever your mind is ready to go to the unknown, your objects will be faded off. Mindfulness will be very sharp. And you have to monitor in such a way, without a hindrance, you facilitate to go into unknown, and with the jolt and with the shock, will come back to the common sense or normal sense. That is the end of the unknown. Just monitor it. Even without this kind of guidance, this is happening. As far as you are continue to practice, 1001 times you have to do it. With the confidence, I am in the correct path. But the way I try to explain is to accelerate or foster it to happen into the daylight. You know what is happening, then very easy for you to teach others. So therefore, get the breath, see the beginning, the middle and the end. See as immediately as possible. When the breath ceases to exist, when the breath becomes subtle, now you have to understand, now I am going to the unknown area, novelty, and there be prepared. The day you understand the entering into unknown, you can see each day when you are going to sleep. That is what happens. From known to unknown happen. After a while you don't know. You know after the awakening. So what happened in between? No frustration, no tension, no problem, no complete relaxation, healing. So imagine if that is happening under the light of mindfulness or awakened situation, what a marvelous thing. Then you get all the ESP, extrasensory perceptions available whenever you are awakened into unknown. But we have the general fear. We hate it. We don't know how to appreciate it. So meditative experience or spiritual approaches make you faithful, go prepared, be mindful how to go into this unknown. And that preparedness is completely using your neurobics never used in your life. You have a phobia, you have an inhibition to see it. But when the Buddha is here, during the dispensation of the Buddha, he says to the people listening, if you have practice, be thorough about the known, and more you become thorough about the known, you are qualified to become unknown. And unknown, our parents are not happy, our teachers are not happy, our benevolent people are not happy because they think the happiness is in the known. No. This happiness is rottening, it is taxing you, it is always a cost for you. But the happiness in the unknown, immaterial, no one can rob. It's a walkover. There is no one to fight with. And there is no rivalry. And when you go there, you see the Buddha is there. So therefore, with this understanding, try to awaken into this unknown. It's such a novelty. It is such a revolutionary thing. It is like electric. It's like very spontaneous. So you must have such a radical nature, against the grain nature. And it is happening when the mindfulness come up to the steadfastness. When the mindfulness becomes steadfast, your personality boosts. You feel like jump into that. You feel like going into unknown. And once you gone into unknown with awareness, whenever you come back to known, you are not the same person. Completely different person, because your approach is to go into unknown. And once you master the known and unknown, then you understand there are but unknowable, don't worry. That is none of your business. With respect to the known and unknown only, you can understand unknowable. So then you can understand so much in our life we have wasted time towards the unknowable. It is none of your business. It's the business of the Buddha. So that's why we call he is omniscient. But he has given us the path, the methodology to thorough about the known. Here what I mean by the known is the breath, your sitting posture, your left leg and the right leg, walking. Utterly be thorough, from the beginning to the middle to the end. from the materiality and mentality. More you understand, naturally you will advancing into the unknown. This is the early signs of unknown. The advice I would like to share is, don't let only be happy with the end of the unknown. Try to be aware. Try to be prepared for the beginning of the unknown also. Then you will be selected for the special task force training, how to be awakened into unknown. Then you can understand the mystic world in the world. What do you mean by the sages? What do you mean by the Aryans? What do you mean by the noble people? They are not worried about this known. Because people are fighting and envious and jealous and war and love, everything is on the known. When you go to unknown, it is walkover. So therefore, to summarize, this is the end of the unknown. Please be prepared for the beginning of the unknown. So if it is happening within a retreat, it's a very, very successful retreat. So we'll go for the next question.
This is also there are two questions here, Venerable Sir. The first is on meditation and the second is on Dhamma. Most Venerable Bhante, my primary object is in-breath and out-breath. I observe the beginning and end of the in-breath and beginning and end of the out-breath. After some time, I couldn't identify it. In the previous 2 days, thoughts came and went while I was observing in-breath and out-breath. But last night, no thoughts came after the hiding of the in-breath and out-breath. A blankness appeared in front of me. I was able to observe the blankness without hearing any thoughts. Once I have heard in one of your preachings that looking at one chitta from one another chitta, pativipassana, is this situation similar to it? I respectfully ask you to give an explanation.
It is something happening when and where you thorough about the object you are observing. The observing mind also reveal by itself. At the beginning, the object reflect by the mind. When the mindfulness gather the momentum, the very meditating mind reflected through the object. So this is called pativipassana or jnatancha jnanancha ubopi vipassati. Therefore, you have to thorough understand as much as possible about the object of meditation. You see then the evolution. That evolution is not in the object. It's the evolution of your mind, observing mind. But you don't believe. You think it is the object is changing. No. With respect to the object, longer observation, closer observation, immediate observation, your observing mind itself is reflecting. So it is none of the meditator's job. None of the meditator's responsibility is what happens. So therefore, whatever you experience, you just report. But the listener must be very carefully listening and say, when and where object is being revealed, then object reflect the observing mind. So this is the point where science can't go. Science is utterly lost. Scientists are utter idiots. They think external objects are available independent of your mind. But the Buddha says, object is the reflection of your mind is a reflection of your observation, object. So therefore, without each other they can happen. But your revelation happens first with the external object. More and more you thorough with the object, it is naturally reflecting the observing mind, noted mind, and that is not yours. It is happening in the universal way, and chitta niyama, the way the mind is working. So you are utterly believing, utterly faithful to see the object as detailed as possible. So after a while, object is reflecting your mind. At that time only, pativipassana is happening. Oh, jnatancha jnanancha ubopi vipassati. The very observer observing the observer. It is non-grammatical kind of a sense. This is what happened. It never happen unless you get steadfast mindfulness and the concentration. And when the concentration happen, with the steadfastness of the mindfulness, whether you like it or not, you understand who am I. Till that it's an anticipation. Till that it's a guess. And it's a mostly falsified. So therefore let the mindfulness take the helm. Take the concentration, take the helm, and then see how quickly the object is changing. That indicates so much so your mind is changing. So it's a fear. It's a threat. Because you take the mind as the pivotal point, mind as me, mind as steadfast, mind is permanent, mind is auspicious, and now object is reflecting and telling everything nonsense, everything is changing. So that is the point you start giddiness. That's the point you start the nauseatic, vomitish, and fearful, and monotonous, all the kind of thing. So it indicates now your real nature is revealing. Who am I is revealing. So therefore, when and where you understand who am I become dissolved. So it's an utter disappointment. It's the highest disappointment on the world. So therefore people are not happy to meditate, because why should you meditate and get the disappointment? So appearance of the Buddha is an utter disappointment. Enlightenment is an utter disappointment. Because the appointment to happen, you must be there. But in the meditation, now you are disproving you are not there. So who the hell to throw a party telling that I got enlightened? So it is being reported in the literature, so much people got enlightened, not a single one throw a party. Because by the enlightenment, the person dissolved. So that's why you people always very cautious not to dissolve self, but to get the enlightenment. Never happy to forego your identity, your social status, your blah, 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 blah. And then still we say, really, really, Bande, I need Sotapan. Really, really, I need Nibbana. By smelling, I can understand how much you have grasped into your life, into your identity. Even if I little prick it, you get so angry with me. So my hobby is to prick. Get a kind of this thing and see how quickly you get upset. So that's why we don't allow people to participate retreat continuously. Once in a way we bring them and treat them and throw back again and again bring them here and do little bit of refinement, and otherwise you will go mad, crazy. And very first article I read, have an appointment with the disappointment. And luckily it has been translated into Sinhala, Sama Balapuruttokma Sungena Sului. It's a 1 A4 paper. Article was so bright, properly written, and it says each and every appointment on the earth is ending up with a disappointment. Knowing that, have an appointment with the disappointment, so you will never get disappointed. So this is the point. Slowly, when the disappointment happens, you feel nauseating, you feel boring, you feel panic, you feel monotonous, and you just want to have enlightenment with the enthusiasm. No, it's early sign is this monotonous. Early sign is this nauseatic feeling. And then you have to have the noble friends, noble Dhamma, and familiarize yourself, adjust your life in order to facilitate this. And we being Sri Lankan, we are very lucky, we can change our lifestyle. We are not just a cog in the cogwheel of the running machine. We are not in the man machine yet, because we are not yet developed in the country. We are undeveloped country. We are third world country, so we are not just cogs. We have lousiness in our life. Lousiness is the way out. When everything will become perfect, finished. So these are the way. So mind is progressing, but you wish not, you hinder it, your inhibition is there. So that is the way it is called cheating nature, perverted nature. So we have to work together. We have to discuss together. We have to reveal itself how much we have the fear for the unknown. As far as we have the fear for unknown, we attach to the known. Known devil is better than unknown devil. Or something is better than nothing. These are the proverbs we have. You see how ignorant they are. Even though if we are using in the common sense, how ignorant, because the truth is basically lying on unknown. Not 100%. So therefore we have to be risk lovers. So novelty. Understand the fear of unknown and have a group effort. But of course when the challenge happens, you are individual to face it.
The second question in this Venerable Sir. In yesterday's preaching, I heard about thought moments increasing of thought moments to 3, 4, 5, etc. I was not able to follow that part. Please could you explain that part again with the blessings of the Triple Gem?
Yeah, that whenever you become mindful, it's a thought moment of mindfulness, and next moment you will topple and you will be wandering. And later you will understand, not after one thought moment it is toppling, it can just sustain for 2 thought moments. And if you are in the proper way of endeavorance, you will see 2, 3, 4, 5 thought moments like it is continuing. The example given by the Buddha is, when the water cascading from the upper paddy field, it make bubbles. Some water bubble happen, immediately disappears. And some water bubble go little further and disappears. Likewise, the longevity of the water bubble, 99% then and they are disappearing. But some bubbles are going to the further end of the water body. Likewise, our thought moments, continuity with the same object or continuity with the mindfulness, at the beginning is very, very unpredictably short-lived. But more observation and more patient in practice, later you will understand the longevity of the mindfulness increase by, I use the term thought moment, or maybe seconds, maybe minutes, slowly increasing. That is what you must facilitate.
The next question, sir, has also got 3 parts to it. This is a reporting of walking meditation and 3 questions. I stood on the walking mat, brought my attention to here, now I am, at the Nissarana Vanaya meditation center walking mat. I stood straight, relaxed my muscles and shoulders, and stood with my eyes shut. I noticed my in and out breath. When I felt ready, I opened my eyes, observed the path, brought my attention to my feet, and began walking first with my left leg, then right, left, and so on. After about 10 steps, my primary object shifted to the sensations of the choir mat. I observed a little unsteadiness. Then momentum developed and I felt a comfortable rhythm. I observed my mind went astray repeatedly. Tiny sounds of physical sensations drew my thoughts away from the primary object of walking. These distractions next led to a memory, then imagination, then inner chatter. Sometimes I returned my attention to the primary object immediately. Sometimes I would be lost in inner chatter for several steps before I noticed. Sometimes I accepted that this is how I am, and sometimes I was disappointed with myself. The first question, how do I improve who I am? The second question, how do I increase my attention span and my level of concentration? And the third question, how do I guide my practice towards the realization of anicca, dukkha, anatta? Much merit.
So I would like to cite one example, and if the person is ready to answer me, I can lead the discussion to the understanding of the answer to the question. Very first thing is, in the letter it has been mentioned, sometimes my mind is going out and I bring the attention back to the feet. So does it, the bringing back attention to the feet, is something you do or it is happening naturally? That is what I wish to know.
Sometimes it comes.
You are the person written the question. First you have to tell that. Okay. Now I am questioning you. You have already mentioned the sentence.
Yes.
There are some occasions the attention I bring to the foot or the soul. Is it something you do or it is happening?
If it just happens, sometimes it just happens. When it comes back naturally, I am not disappointed with myself. When I have to actually bring it back, then I give myself sometimes a little scolding.
So, to happen or that to do, you must understand when you are unmindful, I am unmindful.
Yes.
That is who you are. That's the point, who am I?
Yes.
So, when and where you know I am mindful, I know mindful. When and where you know I am not mindful, about that you are mindful.
Sometimes it takes a little while. It may take several steps.
Two conditions I am telling.
Correct.
Sometimes you are on the soul and you know you are mindful, you know you are mindful.
Correct.
Sometimes without your control it has gone wandering thoughts.
Yes.
And you know you are not mindful.
I only know it when I come back.
Cannot be. Only if you know, only you can direct the mind back to the object.
Correct. That's correct.
And otherwise, if it is happening, there should have kind of a click telling that something wrong somewhere.
Yes.
So that something wrong somewhere is a mindfulness or not unmindfulness?
It's mindful.
So which is more efficient one? Knowing when you are mindful, and knowing you are not mindful and you know about that. Out of these two mindfulness, which one is more efficient, more meritorious? I will repeat the question because I know.
I understand the question.
Yes.
You just surprised me. I had assumed that the first was better, which is why I write the question.
So now what is your answer? Not the presumption.
I guess knowing when you're unmindful.
That is who am I. So we try to understand whenever I am not mindful, if something is going to say, the sixth sense going to say, hey bloody fool, you are not mindful, that is the real beneficial Kalyana Mitta. But it is showing you are in the wrong place.
But it's a waste of energy.
No.
And time.
This is the understanding, this is the revelation, this is the mindfulness, this is the going against the grain, this is the radical nature. When you are not mindful, you know you are not mindful. That very understanding, very easily you can say, this is who am I. That's a kind of an indication. Whenever I am off the track, it says, hey, you are off the track. And not only that, it brings back to the track also.
Yes.
So this is what the Buddha implanted us by practice. It is not by classroom learning. It is not by dowry of the parents. It is something you earn by practice. Have you ever appreciated it? The moment you appreciate it, you are enlightened. Because already in it, whenever you are wandering, there is a point to say, hey, you are not supposed to wander. You are supposed to be with the left and the right. Come back. Like that is what you call the moral shame and the moral fear.
Okay.
And that is something we earn within this life. So the moment you appreciate, you will see you can't regret about that and appreciate on the other hand. Okay. So if you are regretting, you are a Putujjana. If you are appreciating, you are a Aryan. When Sariputta says, Pamadena kampatiti sati balam. Whenever you are not mindful, if you are shaken, if you are undermining your mindfulness will never grow. But knowing that if you are not shaken, if you are not critical about that, if you are not inferior, then there is a chance for you to recover and come back to the primary object. That is called power of mindfulness. And when the power of mindfulness comes into the power, you can understand who am I. And the day you explain the way back journey from the wandering mind to the primary object, in the thin slicing of time, very precisely, very sharply, then you see it is the best essay on the earth. It's such a aesthetic thing. You are in the wrong place, you know, from the wrong place, now you come to the correct. This is the sasana, this is the way we do away with all the defilements. Null and void. Defilement become null and void, your efficiency become bright. Going out, no problem. But the way back, you know. Way back, you appreciate it. You know it is your early practice only given the guideline for this one. The moment you appreciate, you understand who the Buddha is. You understand how this practice is implanting kind of a corrective system into our machine. Ultimately, without a second person, whenever you go wrong, it gives a sixth sense, something wrong somewhere, and then come back to the primary object. So that is, the most beautiful part in the Vipassana meditation. You utterly do mistakes. The way you recover is, mistakes become null and void. Pandita Sayadaw says, this is the way, avosi kamma. Whatever you do, become null and void, you know how to erase it now. We are writing with the pencil and erase it off, no traces. So later, you can erase off your past karma also. Now we are erasing, then and there karma, then and there mistakes, you can do it. So therefore, be aware, be right in a very lucid way, the way back home. The way back home is called thin slicing of time. Don't consider this as a chunk. It's a episode-wise. And Buddha explained 4 aspects. In the Emotional Life You Have a Brain by Richard Davidson, they have scanned the brain and they have found 2 stages. When something goes wrong, recovery process, when the patient is in the functional MRI scan. And if someone to tell that fellow, Richard Davidson, Buddha has explained this 2,600 years ago, whenever something goes wrong, the recovery process, Buddha is standing for the recovery process. He never say the mistakes. Mistake part is natural. But if you know how to mistake from the wrong place to the correct path, and that is what you call the positive thinking. That's the way you can make all your mistakes null and void. Then you can sympathize any person. So it is happening now. What I am telling is, be aware. Be utterly aware. Let the mind run astray as it like. So when and where it is recovering, try to see the stepwise. Where I understood the mistake. And same time you must understand what the safe place also. And then from the mistaken place to the safe place, how it happened, it is ultimately appear like your second nature. Appear like the auto happening, that is because your frequent practice. But even if you are practicing, if you do not get this point on theoretically, on the discussion, you are the loser.
No, I get it.
When you get it, you understand more than meditation, discussion is enlightening you. But you have to exactly explain what happened. Then the other person can explain. Then you can understand Venerable Sariputta, what the sharpness. In the Patisambhida Magga, he has explained this. And the Buddha explained whenever person do mistake in the monastic code, how the recovery process. Exactly the same, 4 stages. So whenever you know how to recover, any mistake is not much grave. So this is the way back home.
Then Venerable, so the last part of that question, how do I guide my practice towards
that
realization?
make you fool asking these questions. Continue practice, then ultimately you will understand even the defilements are impermanent. Even defilements are nothing to worry, and defilements have no soul. If the defilements have no soul, merits have no soul. You have no soul. So therefore, disprove the defilements, make them null and void, then you understand everything is null and void, everything anicca dukkha anatta. There is no other way. So you are on the way, sorry to say you are a fool.
The next question, Venerable Sir. Yes, the next 2 questions. There are 2 questions here that don't give the primary object. We get into trouble when we read out questions that don't give the primary object. So
I hope Devika can give the answer for these questions. Pardon me? So I am telling the audience, these 2 questions, the person who has written, please consult Devika, and she will explain how to put the question into the proper format, and we are not rejecting them, we are sending for editing. If they are really serious, otherwise you just throw away.
No, sir, they are serious questions.
Yeah, so therefore please, because I can dedicate this to Devika, and she will teach you and then rephrase it, and then we will take it tomorrow.
Okay. There's one more question. Most Venerable Bhante, my main object is the in and out breath. I realize that it is the feeling of breath passing through the nostrils that ceases, but not the body taking air and sending it out. So as you directed yesterday, I was trying to keep my watch on the feeling on the nostrils. I can watch it cease, then again feeling in and out, then cease again, and then after some time feeling in and out. It goes on like this. I somehow did not let attention go onto the stomach or lungs. Now I feel really bored. So the question is, how should I handle it? Please give me a clue as to how I should handle this boredom. May you be well.
Yeah, that the boredom is not material, it is a mentality. So you have to understand, when the progress happens, also there is a chance for the boredom to set in. And due to the inefficiencies also, the boredom can set in. So I am answering to the progress side. The simple answer Lokohamtara gave is, go prepared. When the meditation is continuous, when you are observing the same object for longer time, when the object becomes faded off, not much discrete, the boredom can come in, sets in. So when you go prepared, you consider it as a sign of progress. Then boredom is not boring you. That is because of your prepared mind, your mindset. So that preparedness is the one you have earned through whole your meditation. So if you go unprepared, you are the loser. When you go prepared, you consider boredom is an endowment of your, or result of your meditation, result of your mindfulness. That's it.
Those are the last questions, Venerable Sir.
So we at 2:00.
Yes.
But still I feel Lakshmi is quite tense.
No, I'm much better today, thank you.
Usually this is not the case, I can't understand. So you are not a stranger to the mic. And anyway, thank you very much for Lakshmi. Then she will be relaxed. So this is the end of the question and answer session. Thank you very much for the participation.